My name is Arun Giddu. I've been working in supply chain for almost all of 21st century. And in the 20th century, I used to be a software developer. And I've been able to put these two together and make the supply chains more efficient. I have stopped working since the beginning of 2025, and I've been dabbling with AI. I've been very impressed by the progress AI has made. And I think we can use AI to better or make the supply chain more efficient. And I think that is what I will focus on from now on, perhaps. One thing that we need to do to reduce variability, I would say it is digitalization. But digitalization by itself is not enough. We need to take one step further, which is also automation. Because just with digitalization, there could still be variability. For example, you have all of your master data right. Your ERP is working fine. But if your PO process is manual, if you are depending on a buyer to place a PO, the buyer may think, okay, I will do it tomorrow and forget about it. Or that buyer may be on vacation. So we are introducing variability even though we are completely digitalized. So automation is the important step to make sure that variability is reduced and supply chain is working as smoothly as possible. An automated PO process will look like right from the time the PO is created to the time the supplier is paid. Every step of the way is automated. For example, the requirement for product A is known by the system because the inventory level has dropped. So the PO is automatically created, sent to the supplier. The supplier acknowledges the PO, sends the ASN, sends the product, sends the invoice. There is a three-way match done. The invoice is paid, and that is the end of the process. So all of this can be automated. And the good thing is, when I was working at VWR, we did this 10 years ago. So definitely it was possible then. It is even more possible today. As anybody, right, we would want to do business with suppliers who make dealing with them easy. So the business of transacting becomes much more easy if it's digitalized and automated. And therefore, the relationship organically becomes more strategic, right? As I have two suppliers, one of them very easy to do business with because I'm connected electronically and the process is automated. So more and more business will be funneled to that supplier, and automatically that supplier will become strategic. So ease of doing business is what I would think is the most important reason, or the most reasons why a business becomes a strategic partner from a transactional partner. Ease of doing business, and digitalization can help with that. From my personal experience, I can say that that ROI showing, okay, this is the benefits we are going to get if we spend this money, that has not been very clear. And I think we need to do a better job of making sure the ROI is well known. Like for example, right, if you automate things, a PO, let's say, takes 15 minutes. Automated takes 1 minute. What are the savings? A POA comes in, entered manually versus automatically into the system. What are the savings? If many of the suppliers give things like 2% discount if you pay them as within a few days of the invoice receipt. If it's done automatically, we can do that. If it's done manually, that window we might miss that window. So what are the savings because we can get that 2% discount? And similarly, automation also can tell us about when we can ship the product to the customer. So as soon as we receive a purchase order acknowledgement, as soon as we receive the goods, we can say, okay, we can recalculate automatically what is going to be the ship date, let the customer know, so that the customer is also a part of this. Even though it's a procure to pay automation, the customer is also part of it. So there's a huge benefit to the customer when they know when they are going to get the product. Because one of the biggest questions the customers ask repeatedly is, where is my stuff, right? So my personal experience with doing this kind of automation is that not only did we make the procurement department very efficient, but we also made the customer service much more efficient. In fact, so much so that we reduced the calls so much so that, there was a whole bunch of consolidation of customer call centers because of this, because the customers were getting the answers that they wanted. KPIs are things like lead time, for example, right? So how soon can I get the product? If I can get the product sooner, my inventory is going to be lower. Lower inventory means lower cost, right? And then also the thing which I mentioned about is the customer satisfaction rating. If the customer knows when the product is going to get to them, then it is much more likely that they're going to do business with you, right? Because they know they are not kept in the dark. What a customer does not like is to be kept in the dark or given unpleasant surprises at the end saying, oh, your product which is supposed to be delivered on tomorrow is now going to be delivered 15 days. Instead of letting them know ahead of time, now with supply chain automation, these are the kinds of things you can avoid and therefore increase the customer service level. So customer satisfaction also improves, and also internal KPIs like your cost improves because now your inventory levels are going to go down. With automation also, if you think about doing it, you can also reduce the number of resources which are doing this manual work. So that also is a possibility. Now, if you decide not to reduce the resources, these resources can work on things like secondary sourcing. Okay, I cannot get the product from supplier A. Can I find supplier B? Can I then also, with this extra time that they get because the processes are automated, negotiating price? So these are the kinds of things which will get even bigger. It will be reflected bigger on the savings because now they are working, instead of doing manual non-value added work, they are able to do these kinds of things, secondary sourcing, price negotiation, and all of that, which has a direct impact on cost. So once we have master data in place, once we have the ERP in place, right, that by itself is not going to provide ROI because what you're doing is you still have the manual process. You have one set of manual processes. You upgraded your ERP system. You, let's say, put in more, you filled in all your master data holes. But the thing is, all of this by itself is not going to give you return on investment. The return on investment comes by automation, which is going to make all of these processes automatic. For example, I talked about procure to pay, right? That is only one of the many processes that can be automated. So digitalization, getting the ERP, getting the master data in place is only getting 90% of the way. This reminds me of an ad I saw many years ago, wherein an airplane lands just inside of the airport, but in water. And the caption says, getting 90% of the way is not enough. So that is this thing about just getting the ERP in place, getting the master data in place. Yes, it's the first step. But for us to realize the ROI, we need to be able to automate things so that they flow, information flows smoothly. There is reduced variability. We can use that information to inform the customers, to increase customer satisfaction. So all of these things are only possible if we take the next step to automation. From digitalization, we need to go to automation. Yes. So things like TraceLink's Mint, for example, right? So what it does is, for many of the organizations have many partners. Now, if you have systems like Mint, what you can do is integrate once, and then now, as new partners come in, there is no much extra work needed to get connected to the new partner. So like when we did, when I said when we were working at VWR, we did this kind of automated connection to the supplier, but it was point to point. So every time a new supplier came in, we had to slightly adjust some EDI thing, some mapping to make that work. Whereas with software like Mint, you don't have to do that. So once once the information is with TraceLink, they can take care of supporting new partners as they come in. So the effort is much less if we use software like Mint to integrate with partners, however many there are. What AI has done is it has made things like analysis much more accessible. So previously, if you wanted to analyze data, you needed to know Excel, maybe advanced Excel, and things like that. Today, you can give the data to the let's say ChatGPT, and it can spit out the answer. And I know this because I just did this a few days ago, and then I compared that with what exact same exercise I did about a year ago, and the results are like staggeringly good. It can do the analysis and give you the reasons why it came up with the answer, not just come up with an answer and leave you in the dark as to, okay, is this right or wrong, but it explains the steps so that you know, oh yeah, this makes sense, okay, therefore the answer is right. Previously, even the math was wrong. Now, all of that is taken care of. It can think through problems, and it can also alert you to things that you have not thought of. So that is another, because even though you might think, okay, I need this answer, but AI can also tell you about other things which you may not have thought of. So it is like extremely smart, intelligent assistant, and silently and tirelessly does the work. So it is amazing what it can do. And then the other thing also is what AI can do is it has reduced the cost of programming. So previously, if you had a great idea, it had to be implemented by IT resources who were stretched. AI is so good at programming that the IT resources can use AI's help to really turbocharge development efforts. So like, for example, okay, I have this flat file which I needed to load it to SAP. Okay, or SAP needs to read this file which is generated by some other process automatically. How do I do that? It can give you ideas, come up with the program to do that, all within seconds. So that way, it has reduced the cost of analysis, reduced the cost of programming. These are the two biggest things which I have found in the supply chain arena where AI can help.